I just want to know if you brought in new dogs to bring some extra power to make those babies climb, or if your bears were just getting lazy.
I don't think they were lazy. It's just how it all kind of worked out this year. Um, I really can't put my finger on what we had the same crew of dogs. I did have another fella helping me out with his dogs, but they're, they're no grittier than mine. So I really don't know. I think we just got lucky and got some of those bigger male bears to climb this year.
Right? No, I know. It's always blown my mind, like how many of them just don't climb out there.
Yeah,
And then you started sending pictures this season. And it's like, oh, there's finally one that treed, and the next one was in a tree, and the next one, and the next one.
yeah. I think a lot of it's like I think we maybe mentioned before, just the habitat. They, for some reason, they feel safer on the ground, and generally, when you're dealing with those bigger male bears, they played the game before, and they're not going to climb. But um, we did put a few of the no real giants. I mean, 300 pound, 350 maybe class bears that we did get to climb, which is always nice.
Oh
It cuts the
yeah,
stress level down, that's for sure.
no kidding. Yeah. Did you guys get a lot of like natural feed this year or late
Yeah,
feed?
crazy. Acorns and beech nuts like we haven't had in a long time. I mean, there'll be bears out till end of December. I'm guessing. I mean, they're still out and all over right now. I'm seeing all kinds of bear sign deer hunting and getting them on my deer cameras. So, um, they're out and about. So, and there was a lot of
Yeah.
everything this year for the bears for natural feed, which made it hard, to get them to come to the baits. A lot of the pictures we'd get on the
Mm-hmm.
cameras were just bears walking by, not even eating any bait. But with
Just traveling.
yeah, with the dogs, that's all you need is just you know one walking by.
Yeah. It's nice if you got a full stomach, but we'll take one that's empty.
Yeah, we'll work with whatever we get there.
Yeah, that's how it was out here too. Like there was a lot of feed. I know like Colby from Bear Hunting Magazine, he was out here hunting with some guys and they had some success. I got skunked. I mean, I didn't put in a ton of time, but usually out here in the fall, it's it's pretty good bear hunting,
Right.
for spot and stock anyway. And the feed was just all over, so they weren't, isolated. They weren't like in their normal spots per se. Like even spots we used to see a bunch of bears in, you might see one or two over the season.
Yeah, it's
But we've got a huge acorn crop too
yeah,
this year.
it,
Like I don't know what happened.
it seems that way. I've heard that kind of all over the country. Really, the guys I talk to everywhere, it seems like there was just a lot of natural feed
Mm-hmm.
this year. I know over here, East Coast, we had a ton of rain. I mean, a ton of rain. All
Yeah.
basically from June, right to even now, it's been very wet, so that obviously helps with the natural feed. But
Right. Yeah. It's been a weird year for being. I didn't get to do as much hunting as I wanted to do, but we're getting the dogs back out finally, so that's nice.
yeah,
I miss having bear meat in the freezer. Like, this is the first year we haven't had bear meat in the freezer in a while, so I got another month and a half if they're still roaming around.
yeah,
And I've been hearing from a bunch of buddies deer hunting. They're still out. They're seeing them running across the road in front of them.
yeah. No, they are here too, and some years by mid October, where our bears are done. There, when there's no natural feed, when there's no nuts, it's basically beech nuts and acorns that keep them out here. But when we don't have nuts, they're gone, and it gets very slim pickings. You get a few young males still roaming around. That's about it. But this year is a different game. The bears they're all still out. So we had the late October hunting was awesome. I mean, we were just the dogs were the dogs were hard and the bears were getting a little fat on them, and we were banging them out pretty good there.
It's always blown my mind the frame of a bear, like judging them and telling the difference, like in this, if we draw a spring tag versus a fall tag, how much they can really put on in just like 2 months.
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy how it's almost like overnight here. We obviously we're
Yeah.
skinning bears every day basically, and it's all of a sudden it's like, wow, this one's got a lot of fat on it, and then just bang, all of a sudden they went from no fat to gaining it real fast. So they're amazing critter,
Yeah, all of a
amazing
sudden
animal.
2.25's three, 3.25. It's like, holy crap.
Yeah, yeah, they're amazing creature. That's for sure.
Do you not have much fat on your bears like early season then?
It all depends on, if there's a year with no natural feed, they they get fat quick early, and when we're bait hunting in September there, especially the sows, the bred sows, I mean, they will be loaded with fat early because they're going to go to den, first and have cubs or whatever. But so it really varies year to year. You don't know what you're going to get until Mother Nature dictates what we're going to have.
Yeah. Yeah, that was always one of my biggest disappointments is I'd never killed a bear that had any fat really. Like when we would go to California, you get late in the season, those bears, you were skinning them twice
Yeah.
because you were taking so much fat off of them. And my buddies, they'd always feed it to the dogs or render it down.
Hmm.
That's what got them through cat season
Yeah.
and used it for boot weatherproofing and, all kinds of
Sure.
stuff. And every bear I've ever killed looked like a deer.
Yeah.
I mean, there was just no fat on it at all. And I was pretty bummed.
Yeah.
I don't know. Around here, we don't get real cold though. You get some pretty harsh conditions up there.
We do. I mean, it's been cold, the past couple weeks, but that doesn't seem to really. It doesn't really seem to affect them. It's all about feed. If they're still getting plenty to eat, then cold doesn't seem to bother them too bad.
Yeah. Well, how long is your bear season out there?
So, the bait hunting always starts the last Monday in August, and so we can hunt 4 weeks of bait, and then the dog season kicks in the third week, and then so we can go till basically the end of October, just before the end of October with the dogs.
So it's a decent season.
Yeah, yeah. I
And you're
usually I
hunting how many
usually
guys a
run
week?
6 or 7 weeks of dog hunts, and I try to cram most of my bait hunters in the first couple weeks to get that out of the way, and then get after them with the dogs.
How many clients do you run through a year, you think?
About 75 between bait and hound hunts.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's
Is it a pretty even split?
no.
Like, do guys want to go with dogs over bait a lot of times?
Um, I usually try to take like my bait hunts. I'll usually run like 20 hunters a week the first 2 weeks, and then I might take a few bait hunters the third week. But then after that, I just run hound hunts, and it's mostly like 4 hunters a week. I usually end up taking like 25 hound hunters through the course of the season.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And same pack of dogs. Like, you're not one of those guys that splits kennels either.
Well, I have myself, and then I have two other guides that run for me with their packs of dogs, and I have another fellow there that helped me out this year with his dog. So, but we usually kind of, we end up splitting up, two hunters per group, two and two,
Mm-hmm.
and then by the end of the week, we're kind of all working together to get the last bears. So we usually are able to get 4 in a week most weeks
Wow.
without
It's
as
crazy.
long as you don't have too many train wrecks.
Yeah, and we're gonna we're gonna dive right into that one. I really didn't want to ask you this, but you said you were okay to talk about it. So I think it is really important. You had a major, I'm not even going to say what I really think of it, but a major train wreck with one of your clients this year.
Yeah, I did. It was, I've been doing this 25 years now, and I've had some, many dogs banged up. I had two this year, training season and then in kill season that were banged up pretty bad, but nothing like this. So anyway, we'll go down the rabbit hole. The
Start the saga.
Yeah. So anyway, it was the I can't. It was like the first week of October maybe, and I had 4 hunters, and we had 3 all tagged out, and it's Friday, the last day of the hunt, and we had this one guy left, and so we kind of just teamed up, me and my other guides, and I guess we had a track. It was like an 8-hour old track, And I guess I can take a dig at the walkers right here. So anyway, my guy Dale told me that guides for me. He's got walkers, and he has this couple really good dogs, and they couldn't get the track going anyway. So my Reba dog's an English dog, and I said, "Well, she'll get it started." And anyway, she got the bear started, and well, she's an amazing dog. She just one of the better dogs I've ever seen at starting tracks. But so anyway, she gets this bear going, and kind of how I use her is she's so good. I just try to protect her basically, and we'll let her start tracks, and
Sure.
then the first chance we get, we'll grab her. And she knows the game now. Like
Oh,
she'll
sure.
hit the first road, and she just kind of comes to me now. And anyway, so we'll pack on the younger dogs, which we did, and so we get down. I think I can't remember just who, but they went the bear. They took him up over a mountain and got him caught, and he started walking and baying. And so it was my chief dog, two of Scott's dogs, and Dale's Bella dog, a plot. Anyway, and they had this bear walking and baying, and he he came right up to the edge of the road, and he knew we were there. He wouldn't step out, so he went back into the. It was just real nasty swamp, jack firs, and stuff you can hardly crawl through.
Yeah,
And
it's thick out there.
yeah, very. And so I told this guy, he's just, he's a rich, arrogant, you know, money rules the world type of guy. And I told him, I said, we're going to go in and we're going to look the situation over. And if the dogs are clear, you shoot the bear in the head, and I'll tell you to shoot. Okay. So we go in, they're only 60 yards off the road. And we go in, and it's the bear's kind of laying down under like a dead tree that was leaning, and he's laying on his belly, and the dogs are all around him, just circling and darting in and out, and it's super thick. And I'm saying to myself, there's no way that we're going to shoot here, just because
Right.
it's, obviously in a bait situation, you can't grab the dogs and get them out of the way. And so
Right.
basically, you get the bear, and then we're probably 12, maybe 15 yards from it tops. And at that point, like the bear stands up, and then the dogs kind of dove in tighter to him, and then he just laid right back down. He wasn't an aggressive bear at all. It was a good, it was probably close to 300-pound bear, but not aggressive. He just laid.
But not ornery.
No, he just laid right back down on his belly under that log. And my chief dog, he kind of dove right in and was like basically on his belly in the bear's face, baying him. So you have the bear, Chief, me, probably 10, 12 yards behind Chief, and the guy's kind of right off my left shoulder, right in a line. And bang, his gun goes off. And I just like, I,
Ugh.
it was instant shock. Like, what the hell just even happened? Like, a gun just went off. And then I look, and Chief, he's dead. Just guy shot him right in the back of the head.
Oh,
Yeah. And yeah.
man.
So that was, and of course Chief wasn't a shithead. He was,
Right.
he was out of my own breeding. He goes back to my Susie dog. He was, 4 years old, and just cranking bear dog.
Yeah, he was in his prime.
Yeah. And not only, this is the worst part, not only was he a phenomenal bear dog, he was a cat dog. So that's, I can make bear
Yeah.
dogs, not a problem. I can train bear dogs all the time with ease, but making a cat dog is you're a cat hunter. It's a different story. And so that was
Well, I ain't no cat hunter. I'm not good enough.
the
I
game.
just try to chase them every once in a while.
Well, you know what it takes. And a bobcat dog and a bear dog's a whole different animal. And this dog could do it all.
They're totally different dogs
They
most
are.
of the time.
But this dog could do it all. So, it's one of them things that it's a long time getting over, and you'll never, you can't replace him. You just hope to make another one that fills his shoes, but it's a tough one.
Man, you got some serious PR skills, because I didn't read about you in the newspaper. So good on you.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
I had a few of the
I
local
felt so
game
bad
wardens,
for you, man.
The few of the local game wardens said we expected to have to arrest you that day, but I maintained.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing. I mean, That's huge.
No, you have to.
I couldn't imagine being that guy. And I've told this story before, but I'll reiterate a short version. My very first bear, I was told, don't shoot till we tell you.
Yeah.
You know, well, bear's climbing out of a tree. I shot it. You know, it was instinct.
Mm-hmm.
And now looking back, it's like at that point in time, you didn't think anything of it. And now it's like, holy
Yeah.
cow. Like that could have caused some major, major train wrecks.
Yeah.
And it, instead of a train wreck, it was a rodeo. But I mean, luckily nobody got hurt.
Yeah.
But it's a different respect. And I guess that just goes to show like I was more in a, I don't want to say a client frame of mind because I had dogs, you know, I was hunting and I was in it, but I didn't understand what this was all about or the bigger scale. And I just couldn't imagine. Like, I hope that guy felt like absolute dog crap.
Well, I'm sure he did. It, it's not a good situation for anybody. Obviously, he didn't mean to do it. I honestly think I think he was scared. The story he told
Mm-hmm.
my guide was like complete bullshit. I mean, he told the guy the bear was trying to attack us, and that I had a hold of two dogs and I motioned for him to shoot. So it's like,
Oh yeah,
he was totally. I think he was freaked out when the bear stood up, and we were that close to it. He'd
sure.
probably obviously never been in that situation, and it. I just don't know what he was thinking. There was no possible way for a shot there, but it's
And that's a long ways out. Even like 12 yards. If you've never been on a bayed one, like that's a long ways out to shoot.
right.
There's a lot that can
Yeah,
happen.
yeah, yeah. He said the dog, jumped in front of the bullet. It's like, no, the dog
Yeah,
dog
sure
was
did.
laying in front of the bear, barking in his face. But
Man,
yeah,
that I just felt for you, bud.
it.
I he was. I knew he wasn't like an old dog, but did you get any pups off of him?
No, no, he was.
Ugh.
So let's see. I'd made that cross twice with Captain and Tango, and he was out of that cross. And his litter mate Chaga, their brother and sister. Those two dogs are, both phenomenal dogs. I think she's actually better than him. Just incredible.
And you still got that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And she's incredible stamina, and cat and bear dog. Just she's got wheels and can. But she doesn't really like a mean bear on the ground, and he would stay with one all day. So there's,
Mm-hmm.
one of those things that you put the two of them together and you got it all. But the
Yeah,
more I bear hunt, the more I like cat hunting. Let's put it that way.
yeah. No kidding. I will say, you know, switching over to running the fox. It is nice to just go out on a Tuesday night, throw dogs in, not have to worry a whole lot. I mean, your worst worry is somebody coming up the road.
Yeah,
Um, but you know, I had the first major freak out I've had in the woods in a long time about a week ago. And I started a fox. They weren't even really opening on it, but they were trailing it off this ridge. And then all of a sudden, you know, I heard one dog kick off a couple barks. Nothing really, like nobody was really moving real fast. Like I didn't think they had it lined out. And then all of a sudden, you know, they jumped. So it must have been held up somewhere. And then all of a sudden I hear this god awful shrieking. I mean, worst sound I've ever heard in the woods. And I thought I just had a dog. You know, we have blowdowns down here,
right.
like those big pine trees and Doug firs. I thought she had ran into something like that because there's nothing else really around there. It's just open ground with some down trees and, you know, it's not bluffy or anything. And then I realized that it was just the dog's voice because I haven't had her open on a jump track yet. And oh my God, dog's gonna be a phenomenal dog. I think
Yeah,
I'm really, really liking her, and I got her from a guy. He knows who he is, and he's listening to this. And I know I've told you this, but I really appreciate it. And she's a very nice dog. But God, is her mouth awful.
yeah,
And that was like I thought about it, and I thought, God, remember when we used to go turn loose, and you were just like, it wasn't nervous, I guess, but it was always on the edge of your mind, like, who are we taking to the vet,
right. Yeah,
or like, what's gonna happen? I totally get the cat hunting thing, man.
yeah.
Like there's nothing like the thrill of a bear hunt though.
No, it's adrenaline, and but the other part of the equation, like just guiding, you're always under pressure to produce. and that's
Mm-hmm.
what gets to me. Um, if I can go hunting with my dogs by myself, then I'm in heaven, no matter what I'm chasing.
Right.
Um, but just when you got these guys and you're just under, they're paying you, so you're under pressure to produce, and it's just you get some guys that just aren't capable of, or doing what they need to do on their end, and that's it. Just the dogs are in harm's way with bears, and it's just a different.
Yeah, we talked about that last time. I think
Yeah,
like a client just he wasn't physically able to get to a tree
yeah,
or whatever it was.
yeah. And I deal with that with cat hunts too, with guys. But whatever, the dog catches a cat and bays it, it's probably going to come out of there with maybe a couple scratches, but not
Right.
not a speed trip to the vets.
No.
No.
No. So I mean, I know you enjoy cat hunting a lot,
Yeah.
but you do guide cats too, and then you take off and you do your own hunting.
Yeah. That I guide the cat hunts all winter long, the bobcat hunts, and I do I I enjoy that more than the bear hunting. But cat hunting's always been my passion. I mean, that's I started out as a cat hunter, I guess, and just from my
Mm-hmm.
dad was a cat hunter, and that's where I learned the game. And that's if I could just chase cats, that's what I do. But doing now, I've got into a little bit of this chasing the bigger cats, I guess, and that's really been pretty intriguing to me too. So
Yeah. You just do it all, man. Are you guiding the deer hunts too? Like your fishing guide, your bear, your
I
bobcat?
do, yeah. I got a few deer hunters, not many. I just wrapped up last week with that, and now I get to try to shoot one myself, which I do enjoy. That it's like it goes back to just I'm able to go off in the woods and kind of do my own thing, which
Be quiet.
yeah, nope, I'm not babysitting anybody. Um, and I do, even with the hound hunting, that's my favorite. I know hound hunting can be a social event for some people, but for me, if I can just go off in the woods and with my dogs, and I'm in my happy place.
Right.
Yeah, and I took a trip out west last and after cat season last year, and that was awesome. Just me and the dogs and kind of winging it, but that's kind of the way I like to hunt. That's when the magic happens, right?
Yeah, yeah, right. Magic. I know that's what me and my buddy have been talking. We're wanting to get to Nevada. We're wanting to, start putting in for our Idaho permits, and we've kind of just put it off and put it off. And finally, it's like, no, done putting it off. I just got to put a day on a calendar, and if it's bad weather, good weather, it doesn't matter.
Just got to
I
go.
gotta just. Well, I want to catch a lion.
Yeah,
I mean, honestly, it's not that far.
right.
Like my buddy, he's down in Nevada. He's like 5-6 hours from me. It's just getting dogs to run them. Like I can guarantee you, there are dogs in my pack that wouldn't even look at a lion. I mean, no interest. So then you're relying on puppies to like quote unquote trash. I hate saying that, but like we don't run them here.
Yeah,
So it's like, this is just rough. I just need to go down and see my buddy and
it was
go see some pretty
when
cats.
I went out. It was kind of a that's kind of similar to what I first encountered with the first lion track I showed my dogs. They were kind of like looked at me like, all right, am I supposed to do this? I'm like, yeah, go get it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
but it was still a learning curve. I mean, it's totally different. It's completely different hunting. I mean, it's all the trailing and a lot of dry ground and rock and all that stuff was. It took my dogs a little bit to get acclimated to what the hell we were doing out there. But
Right.
once
How long were you out there?
ah, I can't remember, a couple weeks, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds
They
about
acclimate
it.
pretty quick.
The elevation I think frigged them up a little bit. In the beginning, it's so dry. Like I mean, it did me a little bit because
Yeah.
I don't drink water, like very seldom here. But out there, I mean, I couldn't drink enough water, and my dogs were the same way. Like some of my dogs, I have a hard time getting them to drink water here, but man, they just pounded it out there. And I think the elevation,
Yeah.
it took them a little bit to adjust to that. And then obviously the terrain, it's totally different. It couldn't be any more different. But
No.
but once they
No, you couldn't, Paul.
yeah, but once they figured out what we were doing and that we weren't supposed to be chasing elk, that was kind of the first day hiccup. And once they
What is it with elk and moose, man? I'm telling
yeah,
you, like kryptonite.
yeah, both times I've been out west, my every dog I've taken with me, the first chance they get, man, they want to burn an elk. And but it
Yeah.
only takes once, to correct them, and then that's out of their mind. But once they get used to
If
the
you know it.
country and all that, they seem to figure it out. We did get, a nice one treed eventually, and so that was good.
What was the jump race like? Was it a very long one?
No,
Or
and
was it mainly
that
just
to me,
trailing?
like the what I loved about it was the trailing part, watching the dogs learn and watching them like trail
Yeah.
through that rock and all that stuff and hitting the track and going and then go down there and be like, damn, they do got a lion track, and that was the most rewarding to me. But we chase bobcats here, and the chase is like that's where it's all what it's all about. And it
Right.
goes on for hours sometimes, just tight circles and figure eights and all that stuff. So the actual lion chase, I mean, I followed the tracks the last couple hundred yards where I could see them in the snow, and I think the lion just heard the dogs coming and went up a tree. There really wasn't any chase there, so
Yeah.
that part's. I mean, it's awesome to see that big cat in a tree, but the chase part is, and I don't even know what I'm talking about because I haven't done it enough, but from the other guys I've talked to, the chase part isn't much of it. It's all about getting on the
Right.
right track and and getting up
It's
on
the
them.
trailing.
Yeah, but the trailing part was just phenomenal to me. That was watching the dogs figure that out was just awesome.
Yeah, I miss I mean, I don't have any dogs like that right now. That will like sit and grub and go.
Yeah.
Maybe one, or I would say one, and then there's a younger one that's coming up that just here recently has been like really showing me she's going to want to do that.
Hmm.
But you talk to those guys down there in the Southwest, and I mean, they're chasing a lion track for 3 days before they can get it jumped.
Right.
That's that's so insane to me. That would be the
Yeah.
greatest. Just disappear and set out on a mission, and you just stick with it, and it's like man and beast.
Yeah.
You're helping them, they're helping you.
Yep.
I think it'd be
That
awesome.
that was the best to me, and that's just like I said. I guess I'm kind of a loner that way, but I think that when I treed the first day I found his track, it was at least 2 days old. Judging it, maybe a little older, but I was like, damn, that's a big cat. We're gonna trail him, and we did. We trailed him like three
Right.
miles, but we kind of figured out what the deal was there. He was living in this canyon, and I just stuck with it and caught him right and got him caught. But that to just walk off in the mountains like that out there with dogs and you don't hear anything or see anything but other wildlife is pretty awesome, pretty special. We don't have. I mean, we're
It's like
we're
a
remote
reset.
here, but we're not that remote. You know what I mean? You're not going to walk three directions in any mile without hitting a logging road. It's all logging roads and stuff, but we're not that
Right.
remote.
Yeah, it's like a reset when you get out there.
Yeah.
To me, it's like after about 3 days, because I usually take a week for deer season off
Hmm.
or elk season or something, and I'll head over to Eastern Oregon. And it's like after day 3, it's a different feeling.
Hmm.
Like, I don't know, like you're going feral.
Yeah.
It's a whole different mindset, and it is really enjoyable.
Yeah. I didn't want to come home. I can tell you that.
Oh, I told my wife if it wasn't for you and the kids, I'd never leave that place.
Right.
Like, no phones
Yeah.
ringing. I love all my customers, but I'll be honest, it was nice to not have a phone in my ear for a couple of days
Yeah.
and just get out and slow things down. And I needed it. I need that yearly. I call it my walkabout.
Yeah. I hear you. It's nice to decompress and just go do a little me time.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
So what are you getting ready? Are you already running cats? Are you open for training season yet?
No, our cat season comes in December 1st, but when we have no training season, we can't train on them. So
Oh,
so our
okay.
season's December 1st of February 21st. But the December, you know, ours our conditions up here suck now. Really, I mean, even all winter, we just don't
Right.
get well, I should say the past 5 winters, we just don't get good snow anymore. It seems like we might get a day of good snow, and then it warms up and it freezes. Or most of our storms lately, they seem to like, you get snow and then it turns to sleet and freezing rain and everything crust up and freeze. Oh, we deal with a lot of that. Um,
Ugh.
so I don't know. The December is like kind of a wash. So I probably bug out of here in December and head west. But January, February is the heart of our cat season here, and you get, like I said, if I have hunters at 5-day hunt, it's like you seem like you get one good day of running, and damn it, you got to get it done in that day.
Yeah, or else their feet are
Yeah,
worn out.
you do, and you got to really kind of, that's the other thing. You got to, one day of bad crossing, and your dogs are wrecked for the season. They don't, if you got to hunt them every day, they don't recover from that. So it
Right.
seems like it's getting tougher and tougher here every winter, and our cat numbers aren't probably all that great now. I wouldn't say up where I am. It's just weird, the dynamics, the way it's changed here in the state. Like southern Maine, central Maine, where it's very populated. There's tons of bobcats now, but up here, it's like we're kind of right on the line now of the lynx, where the lynx have like taken over, and
Like pushing them out.
I that's my theory. Some of the biologists will argue with me, but I think they're wrong because I've seen it. I mean, we can
Yeah.
go down that rabbit hole too. But I used to
It's
hunt.
kind of how many days you're in the woods.
Yeah, and yeah, I've said that to a few of them before. But I used to hunt Western Maine a lot, over in the Western Mountains of Maine, and there was a lot of bobcats. And now it's like it's literally nothing but lynx. I mean, you can't find a
Hmm.
bobcat track, and we're kind of where I am. We're kind of right on the line. Um, a lot of, I mean, I can go out some days and I'll find 5, 6 lynx tracks before I find a bobcat track. So that, and then my hunters are
Really?
kind of looking at me funny, like, well, what's up with this? So, um, that, and we've had the problem of just some younger guys just killing for the sake of killing with the bobcats, and that's obviously affects the population. So
That's rough on
it
population.
is, and it irritates me. But what are you going to do? You try to educate them, but it's like they just talking to a
It's a
wall.
hard lesson to teach
It
somebody.
is, it's this day and age that people want to, go kill a cat and make sure the pitch is on Facebook within 20 minutes, and it's a hard mentality to break.
It's it's a hard one.
It is.
I mean, really, because like everybody, like how I look at it is it's season. You got a tag, like if you have a tag. Um, like whatever. I'm not gonna knock on somebody, I guess. But I think it's when you find a different respect for the game.
Yeah.
Like I went out the other night and caught a fox.
Yep.
It was a nice fox. Thought about it, and I'm like, no, we'll leave him.
Yeah.
Came back, a couple hours later. I hit the same fox on a different spot. He had came out and moved on, and I thought, that was worth every bit of it.
Yeah.
And that's how I am. I usually, will not shoot one out to my dogs. Um,
No.
maybe like a couple a year. Maybe I know I went 4 years without killing a single piece of game.
Yeah. Yeah. I've got to that point where, I mean, when I was younger, I used to kill some cats, but now I'm like, you couldn't pay me to shoot a bobcat. I just have zero interest. And,
Yeah,
it's like they're there to chase another day. And I mean, I've only ever killed one bear in my life when I was like 18. And I mean, I've finished a lot off.
really.
I've finished a lot off for clients, but I just have no interest. And it seemed like, lion out west is everyone was asking me like, Jace, did you shoot that lion? I'm like, no, like, what the hell am I going to do with it? I
Right.
just,
You eat it,
yeah, it just,
Paul. You eat it.
yes. Well, there is that. And someday I probably will shoot one, but I don't know.
Right.
I just like chasing stuff, watching the dogs.
It's about the
It
chase.
is. And seeing the young dogs progress and do their thing, it's like, that's what it's all about. If you kill it, it's not there to
Yeah.
chase tomorrow. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, it's a weird balance. You know, I mean, what's the hare population up where you're at? Is that mainly what them lynx are eating on, or are
Yeah,
they
it is.
they
And
feeding on the deer?
no, the lynx don't seem to bother the deer. The bobcats will, but the lynx, I don't know, pretty docile
See, that's weird to me.
critters. Yeah, they definitely are into the hares, and our population of those really fluctuates. You know, it's up and down. Um, and
Yeah.
the lynx seem to kind of move around, but they're so damn efficient. Like especially in deep snow, if you get into, and I saw that in Western Maine with high, hare populations. In these like regen plantations we have, and those lynx would move in,
Hmm.
man, and they would just wipe them out, and then they'd move on to the next one.
Oh
Whereas
yeah.
the bobcats, they're not. When the snow gets deep, they're more apt to go to the deer yards here, where there's big beaten
Right.
deer trails, and that's where they will live. But it was kind of a whole thing where our deer population got low, and then so that's when everything kind of changed. It seems like the lynx kind of exploded, the bobcats went down, and it doesn't seem like the bobcats have really recovered. They haven't recovered in the northern half of the state. I mean, it's legal to kill a bobcat, but god damn, I'd pay someone a lot of money if they could find me a bobcat track in the whole North Maine woods.
Right.
They're just not there. They are not there.
Yeah, it's crazy how it changes year to year.
Yeah.
You know, like when you see a trend. What about coyotes? They move in and push the cats out too, or they
They
you really have coyote
we,
problems?
we have a lot of coyotes, but I mean, we have coyote dogs too, and we get after those. Some guys say that was why the bobcats stopped treeing in Maine, was because the coyotes were chasing them. But I've never in my life seen where a coyote has chased a bobcat, so I don't buy that one. Um, I just,
I gotta agree with you. I've never seen a bobcat track with a coyote
nope,
track.
I've
Well,
never seen it.
maybe in the same
They're in
area.
the same area, and I've noticed some, like if there's a lot of coyotes that maybe move into an area, the bobcats will shift, and they'll, if there's a family
Hmm.
of bobcats, say in this area, yes, they will move some, maybe just to eliminate, so they're not in such competition. But I don't think they might displace them a little, but a lot of times, and especially around the deer yards late in the winter when we're hunting those bigger tom bobcats, that they're right there with the coyotes. And I've seen a lot of trail cam
Yeah.
pictures in the last few years where bobcats and coyotes on these baits guys put out, and most of the time the bobcat wins. He'll own the bait.
Hmm.
He has a lot of weapons.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. No kidding. That's so. Are you getting ready? Did you say you were going on another trip?
I think
This, or are you just headed back west?
I think I'm gonna, once my deer season wraps up here, and as long as there's, my dogs aren't, they're not that good at the game yet, so I'm gonna need a little snow. But if there's some
Right.
snow out there somewhere, I don't really have any specific destination in mind, but Colorado, Utah, New Mexico, somewhere that way, I'll probably load the dogs up
Right.
again and just hit the road.
Going a walkabout.
Yeah, I don't know, just loading the dogs up, man, driving across the country and then going out there to chase stuff is pretty awesome.
Oh, I hope you have a good cat season,
I,
man.
you know,
Hopefully, it goes a lot better than the bear
it,
season.
it's a, it'll be fine. It's just fighting conditions. We're in this whatever El Nino pattern where they saying that we're going to get a lot of snow this winter, and hopefully they're right. We'll see.
Yeah.
That's, with us, it's all about any cat hunting, I guess, is all about conditions. And, you know,
Yeah.
I travel all over to cat hunt too. So, I kind of go where the best snow is. And there's parts of the state where there are real good cat numbers still. And if I get snow there, I can have some great hunts. But
You can get on a cat.
yeah, it's, I can find cat tracks about every day without problem. But, back when my dad he kind of got out of it. Let's see, kind of in the mid 80s, I guess, late 80s. And, he said sometimes they'd ride for like 3 days and not even find a track, which that's
Really.
rough. Yeah. I mean, I've had some tough weeks guiding, but not that tough.
You know, to me, if you're not seeing tracks, that's the worst. Like
Yeah.
seeing old tracks is frustrating,
Right.
but at least you can convince yourself that you're just 1 minute closer to the move.
Yeah, you know that at
1
least
minute closer. They're going to move.
at least you know one's in the neighborhood. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it might be 3-4 days before that stupid thing moves, but it's going to happen. And that's what keeps you going. Then you drive through these just desolate nothing.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, let's get out of
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. No, it
Well, I hope you have a good trip, man. If you ever want to meet up somewhere.
yeah, no, we
Nevada's
definitely got
nice, I
to
hear.
we got to get together one of these days and chase some bobcats or something for sure.
Yeah, man, I want to make it out there bear hunting one of these years, to be honest. It's been a long time. Last one was 2012 since we, were able to hunt with dogs in California
Right.
for bear. So yeah. And you guys, I had a buddy who actually drove out there. Like he hauled his dogs from Idaho
Yep.
out there to go bear hunting. I think, maybe we'll get some of these trashy little ones on a road trip and see if we can get them to take one.
Oh, they'd be fine. Same thing as anywhere. I mean, I know a lot of the guys that come from wherever out west or down south, West Virginia, Virginia. A lot of guys come up this way and will run, with an outfit or whatever. And it always takes the dogs a little bit to get acclimated because we have a ton of water here, streams and rivers and
Right.
bogs, and the water always seems to be the big hang up for the dogs from away. But they figure it out, and once they figure it out, then it's game on. I had one of my. I'll give you a real quick story of during bear season of this fellow Mike Maglio. He's hunted with me for years, over 20 something years. He's hunted with me, bobcat and bear hunting. Well, he's got kids. His daughter Cassidy shot one like 3 years ago, and she was 12. And then he brought his son Brockton this year, who was I think 12 as well. And he lives in the Adirondacks of New York, and so he's got a couple of his own dogs, and he's treeing bears there, and so he had these couple young blue ticks, and the first day we were on a bear, and it as soon as it crossed like a river, the dogs were out. But Mr. Man, after that, they were like, those dogs learn, like, all right, I need to cross this water if I'm going to be in the hunt. And
just go through.
And they did, and the best part of the whole deal was, I guess it was like Thursday. We get on a bear and we got his dogs in there. His two, Brockton's, he's all about the hounds, young kid, and just all about the hounds. And his two dogs get in on that chase and they treed the bear. And that was his first bear he killed. And so that was awesome, to just,
oh, that's cool.
Yeah. To see his young dogs, like, I mean, they did awesome. You couldn't ask for him to do any better, but it's like, as soon as they figured out, damn, we got to cross this river if we want to be with those other dogs. And they were running to catch after that. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
You just got to jump the hurdles.
That's right. No matter what it is.
Oh, no kidding. Well, man, I probably better jump off. I'm going to help the guys answer some phones here, but I really appreciate you coming on. Like I said, it's good to catch up with you. The only time the phone's not ringing in my ears on a podcast, so it's nice to catch up.
Yeah, I know. Usually I'm calling you about, a caller or something and making an exchange or whatever. But so, no, it is definitely good to catch up anytime.